Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the fascinating tales of bygone eras. Today, we embark on an enthralling journey through the uncharted waters of the Age of Viking Exploration. As we set sail for the distant shores of Scandinavia, let us first anchor ourselves in the earliest history of this captivating era. The Age of Viking Exploration, a period marked by bravery, cunning, and an insatiable thirst for adventure, began to take shape in the late 8th century. It was an era that would witness the emergence of fearless warriors, skilled navigators, and shrewd traders, who would leave an indelible mark on the history of Europe and beyond. As we navigate the historical context of this period, let us begin with the precursors to the Age of Viking Exploration. In the early 8th century, the Scandinavian region was characterized by a complex web of tribal societies, each with their own distinct culture, traditions, and territories. The Danes, Norwegians, and Swedes were the primary protagonists in this drama, often engaging in fierce battles for supremacy and resources. However, it was not until the late 8th century that the Vikings began to make their mark on the European stage. The year 793 CE is often cited as a significant milestone in the history of the Age of Viking Exploration, as it marks the raid on the monastery at Lindisfarne, off the coast of Northumbria in northeastern England. This event, though not the first of its kind, signaled the beginning of a series of raids and incursions into the British Isles, which would become a hallmark of Viking exploits. As we explore the historical background of the Age of Viking Exploration, it becomes evident that the Vikings were not merely mindless plunderers, but rather skilled traders and navigators who had developed a sophisticated understanding of the sea and its rhythms. Their ships, with their characteristic long, narrow design and symmetrical ends, were perfectly suited for navigating the treacherous waters of the North Sea and beyond. The Viking warrior culture was also characterized by a strong sense of loyalty, honor, and courage, which would become hallmarks of their expeditions. The concept of felag or partnership was central to Viking society, where groups of warriors would band together to undertake raids and trading expeditions. This system allowed for a high degree of flexibility and adaptability, enabling the Vikings to respond quickly to changing circumstances and exploit new opportunities. As we delve deeper into the earliest history of the Age of Viking Exploration, we find ourselves in the midst of a complex landscape of alliances, rivalries, and power struggles between various Viking clans and kingdoms. The Danes, Norwegians, and Swedes each had their own distinct traditions and territories, which would often lead to conflicts and competition for resources. Key figures such as King Harald Fairhair of Norway, who ruled from approximately 872 to 933 CE, played a significant role in shaping the course of Viking history. His efforts to unify the warring clans and establish a centralized authority helped to create a more stable environment, conducive to the growth of trade and exploration. The Vikings' interactions with other cultures, such as the Frisians and the Slavs, also had a profound impact on their development. The trade in goods like furs, wool, and amber for silver, gold, and other precious commodities helped to fuel their economy and finance their expeditions. As we conclude our examination of the earliest history of the Age of Viking Exploration, we find ourselves poised on the threshold of a new era of discovery and adventure. The Vikings, with their fearless spirit and seafaring prowess, are about to embark on a series of expeditions that will take them to the farthest reaches of the known world. And so, dear listeners, let us prepare to set sail for the next stage of our journey, as we explore the pivotal events and exploits that defined the Age of Viking Exploration. Join me as we navigate the uncharted waters of this captivating era and uncover the secrets of a bygone age. Welcome back to History with Herodotus. We're exploring the captivating era of the Age of Viking Exploration. As we set sail for the next stage of our journey, let's dive into the pivotal events and exploits that defined this period. The late 9th and early 10th centuries saw a surge in Viking expeditions, with fearless warriors, skilled navigators, and shrewd traders leaving their mark on the European stage. One of the most notable figures of this era was Leif Erikson, who is credited with discovering North America around 1000 CE, nearly 500 years before Christopher Columbus. Leif's voyage was not an isolated incident, however. His father, Eric the Red, had established a settlement in Greenland, which became a hub for further exploration and trade. The Vikings' expertise in shipbuilding and navigation allowed them to traverse the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic, establishing trade routes and settlements in places like Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and even as far as Russia. The Viking Age was also marked by significant cultural and social developments. The concept of thing or assembly became an essential part of Viking society, where free men would gather to discuss laws, settle disputes, and make important decisions. This system of governance allowed for a high degree of participation and accountability, which helped to maintain social cohesion and stability. The Vikings' interactions with other cultures also had a profound impact on their development. Their trade with the Byzantine Empire, for example, introduced them to new technologies, such as the use of silk and spices, which became highly prized commodities in Scandinavian society. The Vikings also adopted aspects of Christianity, which would eventually become a dominant force in Scandinavian culture. As we explore this period, it becomes evident that the Vikings were not merely raiders and plunderers, but rather complex and multifaceted societies with their own distinct cultures, traditions, and achievements. Their legacy can be seen in the modern-day languages, customs, and institutions of Scandinavia and beyond. The year 870 CE saw the establishment of the Danelaw, a region in eastern England under Viking control, which would become a hub for trade and cultural exchange between the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons. The Vikings also established settlements in places like Dublin, Ireland, and York, England, which became important centers of commerce and learning. As we navigate the historical context of this period, it becomes clear that the Vikings were not isolated from the rest of Europe. They were actively engaged in trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange with other societies, which helped to shape their own development and leave a lasting legacy on the European stage. Key figures such as King Harald Bluetooth of Denmark, who ruled from approximately 940 to 986 CE, played a significant role in shaping the course of Viking history. His efforts to unify the warring clans and establish a centralized authority helped to create a more stable environment, conducive to the growth of trade and exploration. The Vikings' achievements in shipbuilding, navigation, and exploration were truly remarkable. Their longships, with their shallow drafts and symmetrical ends, were perfectly suited for navigating the treacherous waters of the North Sea and beyond. The Vikings also developed a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and meteorology, which allowed them to navigate using the stars and predict changes in the weather. As we conclude our examination of this pivotal period in the Age of Viking Exploration, we find ourselves in awe of the achievements and exploits of these fearless warriors, skilled navigators, and shrewd traders. Their legacy continues to inspire and fascinate us to this day, and their impact on European history cannot be overstated. And so, dear listeners, let us prepare to set sail for the next stage of our journey as we explore the final stages of the Age of Viking Exploration and the lasting impact it had on the world. Join me as we navigate the uncharted waters of this captivating era and uncover the secrets of a bygone age. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we conclude our journey through the Age of Viking Exploration. As the Viking era drew to a close, the Scandinavian societies that had once been characterized by raiding and plundering began to transform into more complex and stable nations. The 11th century saw the rise of powerful kingdoms in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, each with their own distinct culture and traditions. The Danish kingdom, under the rule of King Svein Forkbeard, expanded its territories through a series of conquests, including the invasion of England in 1013. The Norwegian kingdom, meanwhile, was unified under the rule of King Olaf Haraldsson, who played a crucial role in introducing Christianity to the region. As the Viking Age came to an end, the Scandinavian societies began to adopt more sedentary lifestyles, with a greater emphasis on agriculture and trade. The establishment of towns and cities, such as Copenhagen and Stockholm, marked a significant shift away from the nomadic and tribal way of life that had characterized the earlier Viking era. The legacy of the Vikings can be seen in the modern-day languages, customs, and institutions of Scandinavia and beyond. The Old Norse language, for example, has had a lasting impact on the development of languages such as English, German, and French. The concept of thing or assembly, which was an essential part of Viking society, has also influenced the development of modern democratic institutions. One of the most significant legacies of the Vikings is their contribution to the exploration and settlement of new lands. The discovery of North America by Leif Erikson, as well as the establishment of settlements in places like Iceland and Greenland, marked the beginning of a long period of European expansion and colonization. The Viking Age also had a profound impact on the cultural and artistic development of Europe. The intricate carvings and ornate metalwork that characterized Viking art have influenced the development of medieval art and architecture, while the epic poems and sagas of the Vikings have shaped the literary traditions of Scandinavia and beyond. As we conclude our journey through the Age of Viking Exploration, it is clear that the Vikings left an indelible mark on European history. Their bravery, cunning, and adaptability allowed them to thrive in a harsh and unforgiving environment, while their cultural and artistic achievements continue to inspire and fascinate us to this day. In the words of the medieval Icelandic poet Snorri Sturluson, the Vikings were a people who lived by their own rules, and their legacy will live on forever. As we reflect on the achievements and exploits of these fearless warriors, skilled navigators, and shrewd traders, we are reminded of the power of human ingenuity and the enduring impact of culture and tradition. And so, dear listeners, our journey through the Age of Viking Exploration comes to an end. We hope that you have enjoyed this epic tale of adventure, discovery, and cultural achievement, and that you will join us again as we explore more fascinating periods in history. Thank you for listening to History with Herodotus. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.